Effect podcast, episode number 15. The special episode is brought to you by nothing. It's brought to you by us and viewers like you. Thank you so much for joining us again. We hope you've had a great weekend, a fun time, and the week hasn't treated you too bad. As always, my co-host, partner, and legal wife in all 50 states, Shannon, is here. Say hi, Shannon.
Hey, everybody. Hope you had a great week. I've had kind of a stinky day at work, so I'm here to make you guys laugh and make myself laugh.
Well, I'm going to be serious this time. With no laughing from me. I'm going to be very serious and no jokes. It's going to be a very serious episode. So, a couple of things at the top. Wanted to let everybody know, thank you for passing us along, episode 14. Hopefully this is on par with quality. We're having some technical issues, which I hope to resolve. I'm giving you guys a little behind the scenes. We're not normally tell people what's going on, but hopefully when you're hearing this, it sounds just as good as 14, which we got a lot of compliments on it being our best sounding and best produced episode. So we're going to try and keep that bar at the same place. And also, people have been saying, why do you guys call it the Placebo Effect? It's been 15 episodes. So as Shannon said about laughter, we might as well let everybody know why we call it the Placebo Effect. Placebo Effect, for those of you that don't know what a placebo is or a placebo effect is, a placebo is a fake medication that you take for a real condition. So, for example, it's whenever they're having like a medical trial and someone is, they do a blind study where they give one person an actual medication and they give the other person a placebo. And what they found is the placebo effect is many times the people that were taking the non-medication were getting just as the same benefits or getting just as well as the people that were taking the actual medication. So it was partly psychosomatic. In other words, it was the mind affecting the body. In this case, we're giving you guys all kinds of goofy jokes, headlines, all kinds of weird stories. And hopefully we are distracting you from the real world that you live in. And more than that, helping you deal with stuff that sucks. So, we're here to kind of amuse you guys as a placebo, as it were, because we got no real solutions. We're just like everyone else.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
We just happen to have a microphone, and I know how to add some fart sound effects. See? There's one.
Now it's time for Florida Headlines, brought to you by Mosquito Nets, Mickey Mouse, and Swamp Ass.
Okay, so on April 13th, a Florida man impersonating a police officer pulls over a couple of real cops.
Of course. What are you going to do when you're a fake cop? You pull over real cops. And I'm sure it went really well for him and he didn't get shot or arrested.
One tough sucker.
Same day in Florida, hopefully not in the same city in the poor police department, Florida man advertises legit, quote unquote, legit counterfeit money on Craigslist and is promptly arrested.
Oh my goodness.
He assumed, I guess, that the cops would not read the internet or go on Craigslist.
Monitor Craigslist,
or even
known to be full of shady things.
Shit, even, I'll be honest with you, we're not narcs, but if we saw something like that, we'd be like, is this guy for real? Is this for real? And as soon as you bring attention to something like that, that guy's going to get arrested.
Yeah. That's like the, you've heard a couple of stories about 911 calls. My weed was stolen.
Well, there was the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was that one video we saw.
They called the cops, my weed was stolen.
Or how about that same cop that called the police and was like, I'm too high. We're too high. Anyway.
The idiocy in this country, my goodness.
You got the next one.
Okay. April 15th, a Florida man lands a gyrocopter on the Capitol lawn to demand campaign finance reform, and he's arrested, surprisingly.
Luckily arrested and not blown up, because I saw the video, and I'm going to post the video. It'll be in the show notes if you guys go to the website, placebopod.libsyn.com. I'll put it in the show notes there. And the guy, it's the gyrocopters, for those that don't know, or so you can kind of, picture in your head what we're talking about. It's almost like a go-kart with a helicopter attached to it. It's a small vehicle for one person. I think made popular in one of the Mad Max movies. I think it was Thunderdome, where the blonde guy is flying this, basically like a small helicopter. It's not even a helicopter. It's called a gyrocopter for a reason. I think the guy has to use all his limbs to keep this thing in the air. And I don't know why he wouldn't just hold up a sign like a regular crazy person. He has to fly a helicopter. I'm
like a regular crazy person.
Standing in front. If you've ever been, you've been to Washington, right?
I have never been to Washington.
There's constantly people, and there's people with legitimate issues that are complaining to the government, which God knows we need a lot of complaint, but there's plenty of times there will be a guy holding up a sign just like, tell us about the UFOs, or release the data on Area 51.
I don't know. I'm still wrapping my mind around the regular crazy
people. I know
people.
about the Area 51 too, but I'm not going to stand.
So what do we have? Regular crazy people, extra crazy people.
Yeah, it's just like KFC.
It's like extra sugar.
It's a KFC
or extra.
You
large?
got crispy and then extra crispy. They have new extra crispy. So
all right.
Florida man on April 22nd is bitten by a snake that friends say he enjoyed kissing.
Oh, the horror.
Now, Shannon is the kind of person that is all about snakes. She loves snakes of any size, of any type. The bigger, the badder, the scarier.
Stop it. People are going to send pictures and stuff.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
I hate snakes. I'm terrified of them. You can call me Indiana Shannon. If they would just do their snaky things without anybody seeing them, if they would follow my snake
Snaky
rules,
things.
Yes, do your snaky things without humans watching you. Because they actually are an important part of a lot of ecology. They take care of bugs and different things. And if they weren't there to be predators, it would mess up the system. So I happily want them to exist.
We'd be overrun by mice.
Yeah, I want them to exist, but they should just know, stick to the snaky rules and do your snaky things out of sight.
So essentially what you're saying is the government has to get involved and then teach the snakes snaky rules. Like
I think
teach them to read and then hold up signs that says, look, Shannon says follow the snaky rules and everything will be fine.
We might just need to call St. Patrick to take care of the snaky rules and enforce it.
Shit, if it involves more drinking throughout the year.
All right.
We'll go for that. We might need, what she's saying is we might need another St. Patrick's Day. And we're all for it. We could definitely go for some more drinking.
That's right. On April 30th, a Florida man high on meth jumps on strangers' cars and surfs them.
Oh, nice.
Pretty fun.
Maybe it was in Florida. He was thinking he was in California because the waves in Florida are really low. So he was like, screw that. I can't surf. I'll surf cars.
Do you think the cars were playing the Beach Boys or something?
Of course, for sure.
Or what's that other one? Surfing
USA?
Not Surfing USA. What's the ones from like
Beach Blanket Bingo?
No, Tarantino loves them.
Oh,
there's no words.
Saying.
You know what I'm talking about.
That's the theme from Pulp Fiction.
Wipeout.
No, but there's the theme from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, it's called Wipeout.
No, it's not the Wipeout. It's the one from Pulp Fiction.
It's not.
No.
Oh, okay.
This is the one from Pulp Fiction. That one's not Wipeout. There you go. And then the last one is on May 15. Mind you, these things are, if you guys are keeping track at home, for those of you keeping score at home and playing the home version of the Florida Headlines game, that's 2 on April 13, 1 2 days later, 1 a week later, 1 another 8 days later, and then the last one is 2 weeks later. Florida man interested in getting tased runs through the airport in underwear, waving some nunchucks. So his plan was, he was like, I wonder what it's like to get tased. How am I going to do that? So he decides to go to Miami International Airport, run around in his underwear, waving some nunchucks. And I'm assuming probably not doing any really cool like Bruce Lee moves. Just like,
how do you know? Maybe he was.
But you know what? Once you're in your underwear and you're flinging like weapons around the airport, at the airport, he probably got his wish. I'm sure he got his wish.
I'm sure he did get tased. So here's a question. So what is it about the state of Florida that attracts this kind of activity?
The heat.
Is it the heat?
The
It's just
humidity.
making people go cuckoo?
If it's not the heat, it's the humidity. It
Yeah.
could also be the bath salts. They're putting bath salts in everything now.
Is that what it is?
What I heard is they put the bath salts in everything. You're going to take a shower, you get bath salts.
Oh, okay.
You go to the doctor, he prescribes bath salts. Sometimes I go to IHOP and I
Does
get the
he-
bath salt special.
Oh, is he drinking Manischewitz wine? And,
I don't know
and
what he's
eating,
doing. Listen,
matzo ball
I
soup?
don't know, hand to God, I don't know what he's doing, but maybe he's down there and he wants to get tased. What are you going to do? 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 So, also following our pseudo medical, since we did so well with the weed episode 12, we were talking about this, and we've Shannon and I have chatted about this in the past about the most misdiagnosed illnesses and people going online and
Dr. Google.
Dr. Google. There was even a survey. Actually,
You might have a pimple. You might have cancer.
cancer. Yep, that pimple might be cancer.
Yep.
The 12 things or the 10 things that most people look up because they think they have a condition, and it's pretty crazy. Like, for example, the number one misdiagnosed illness, in other words, people type it in thinking it's that, and then they go to the doctor and it's not that at all, is breast cancer, which is not funny. But for example, lady feels her boobs, says this doesn't feel right, goes on Google, types in I don't feel something in my boobs, it automatically tells you it's breast cancer because it's not a doctor and you're not a doctor. The second one is other forms of cancer. So you type in almost anything. If you type in any symptom, I have a headache, brain tumor. I have a toothache, tooth cancer.
Tooth cancer is my favorite.
Tooth cancer is pretty because the tooth keeps growing and growing and growing.
Oh.
Yeah, it needs chemotherapy, medications, laser, whatever, or else it'll grow right through your face.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Trump. That's what I've heard. So look at that, 2 jokes in one. We're taking
People
a step.
tell
taking
you.
a step. People tell me what I've heard. People tell me, because I'm not a doctor, is tooth cancer. Your tooth keeps growing till it grows right through your face.
Okay.
Thrush, which I had never heard of this. Do you know what thrush is?
It's like babies get it.
Right. That's what
it's
the
like a
search-
skin infection. Like
that's what the
babies
search
get
said.
it, especially if they have like diarrhea a lot. And
It'll be
too much poopy.
It's actually a yeast infection because of the accumulation, like you said, of the poop and the pee or whatever.
Yeah.
will give you an infection. So people, women, because it's usually women looking up yeast infections, will think, what's going on? I have, it's a weird smell I'm getting from down there, and it's not a yeast infection. You just need, you need soap. High blood pressure is another one. Like, oh, do I suffer from high blood pressure? Well, if you go Google this after any day in traffic here in California, you're going to have high blood pressure. Or if you work in a high-stressed environment, or you do anything, you just stopped a burglar in your house, you probably have high blood pressure, but only for that time.
Yeah.
Not all the time. One that you're familiar with that you definitely suffer from is asthma. So people look up asthma all the time. Do I have asthma? Am I suffering from asthma? I guess some of these people are also a little bit unfit. So they think they have asthma. They walked up a flight of stairs. They think they have asthma, or in my case, it's if I get up off the couch too quickly, or if I'm pouring myself a drink too fast.
Yeah.
As I'm pouring that drink.
Asthma.
Yeah, I get out of breath.
You know what the funny thing is?
I can't breathe.
With my asthma, it's almost never ever exercise induced. It's
really bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one time after I did like an hour workout or something many years ago, I had a little exercise induced, but usually it's laughing until
which is
I
the
cannot
worst. Which
breathe.
is the worst. So she gets a lot of asthma attacks around here, and it's always frightening to me. I always say, well, that's it. With no more jokes, we're not gonna laugh anymore.
Because
she gets it really bad. You get that asthma really bad, and you start wheezing, and
you guys have listened. He's hysterical, and
yeah,
sometimes
you're giving me too much credit.
I'm on the bed, and I'm like, please stop. I
You're just
can't
goofy.
laugh
You're just
anymore.
goofy. You laugh at goofy shit.
Then again, he doesn't have asthma, and sometimes it happens to him too.
Well, that.
Please stop! I'm gonna throw up.
That's when you're making faces and we're like acting stupid, and then you're both out of breath or whatever. That happens to everybody, but yours is the wheezing and all that, and it's really bad. Depression. No, I'm sorry, I skipped. Number 6 is arthritis. Ooh, spoiler alert, depression's coming up. So, arthritis. Do I have arthritis? My joints are hurting. Nah, dude, you're 45. That's normal. That's just, you're walking around, you turn 45 or 50 or whatever, and you don't have arthritis. You're old and your joints are just wearing out. The next number 7, the next one is depression, which is a real big one. And that one, I think it's kind of funny because if you're feeling that you maybe have depression, you probably do. And it's okay to be sad, too sad to do everyday stuff, like eating, bathing, going to work, then you probably need to seek help. Again, as we said at the beginning of the show, and we say every show, we let everyone know, we're not doctors, but we did stay at a Holiday Inn Express. So you can take our medical advice. Again, I have said in the past, on par with Dr. Phil. Because Dr. Phil is not a medical doctor either. He's a counselor, but he's really just a guy with a really stupid accent that just yells at people.
Or for any veterinary friends out there, our favorite is when, well, my brother-in-law's breeder told me blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And we're like, really? What vet school did they go to?
Well, no, they didn't go to vet school, but, they've been around animals for a long time.
So you go listen to that person instead of the person with a doctor in front of their name, but okay.
Ding, 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 ding. This is stupid.
The only one that I can proclaim expertise on is the next one. This one I can tell you. This one you can even send me questions. I'll be honest with you guys, and I am literally an expert on every single part of this because I've been diabetic since I was 6, and let's say I've been diabetic for 4 decades. I'm not 46. You're not going to figure it out, but I've been diabetic for a long, long, long time. I've been diabetic longer than 99% of the doctors that I go visit have been doctors.
Oh my.
So even when I was a kid, I'm a scientific buff. I like science and I'm a nerd. So if you have questions, if you think you're going through this, email me placebopod@gmail.com and be like, am I diabetic? So I'll give you guys a couple of examples. I'm eating too much sugar. Is that going to make me diabetic? Or, because I get these all the time. I get really hungry. Or I feel like I'm going to pass out if I don't eat lunch. Okay, what else? I didn't eat breakfast and I feel faint. Or sometimes for no reason, I leave the house and I go gambling. That's Lunesta. That's not diabetes. All right, so Dr. Angel's going to give you guys some facts. Diabetes essentially means siphon. It is a metabolic disease in which the body's inability to process sugar due to the fact that it cannot produce its own insulin. That is why you're required to give yourself insulin shots. So anyone that says I'm pre-diabetic or I ate too much candy or any of that is not a real diabetic. Diabetic means you're not able to produce insulin, so you cannot process glucose, and thus the word means to pee a lot because it means siphon because you do pee a lot. So if you are someone that is going through some very rapid weight loss, you feel tired a lot, and you drink a lot of water, and you're constantly thirsty regardless, even when you're indoors in the refrigeration of your AC, and you're feeling cool, but you're still drinking and peeing and drinking and peeing, getting up to pee, peeing all the time, losing a lot of weight, you feel tired. There's a lot of telltale signs that you may actually be pre-diabetic or you might be suffering from diabetes, and you should definitely get that checked out. Reasons being, essentially diabetes is terrible because as the sugar in the blood increases, it affects all your blood vessels, and there are small capillaries and small blood vessels that cannot deal with the increased viscosity of the blood due to the the increase in glucose. So essentially, it will affect your small blood vessels in your eyes, in your hands, in your feet, in parts of your organs that you don't want to go bad. So essentially, when we were talking about episode 12, the neuropathy happened to me because I've been diabetic for a long time, and when you have irregularities like that for a long time, it starts to affect the extremities first, like your hands and feet. And luckily, it hasn't affected my eyes, knock on wood, or any other part of my body. But definitely the hands and feet, I have a lot of nerve damage, and that is why I medicate as I do. Otherwise, I would be suffering from intense nerve pain all the time. And that is diabetes in a nutshell. It is very serious. It's not I feel tired. I didn't get a sandwich and I feel like I should have 2 sandwiches, or I don't know why I didn't have breakfast but I feel weak, or you have to get food in you. It doesn't mean you're diabetic. It means you're having a low blood sugar, which is totally normal. Your body normally operates at about 100, 120, 110 if you're a regular person, a non-diabetic. So when you're at half of that or a third of that, you really, really feel it. And let's do the math real quick. So sugar's going to keep dropping because there's no fuel in the body, so your body still has to consume glucose. So as you run out of sugar in the body, what happens next is you don't get crampy, you don't get grumpy, and you don't get angry, and you don't get hangry. You pass out, go into a coma, and you die.
Game over.
It's a little bit different. So anyway, that's diabetes.
Wilford, if you want to get better, get diabetes. Diabetes, I had an unquenchable thirst. I was losing my vision. I was losing my energy. I'm not doing it without help. I'm surrounded by diabetes who love me, who care for me, and who want me to feel better. And I think the most important thing he said to me was, have a good day. I would encourage all of you, get diabetes. You'll feel better. See if I'm not right. It's not a bad idea once in a while. In closing, I would simply like to say to you, diabetes.
Another one, the number 9 issue that people look up all the time is sexual health problems.
That's what he said.
They think like, I don't know, I'm having issues with her, or I'm having issues with him. And yeah, it could be a medical problem, or you just might not be into him. You just, maybe you're not into him. And then the 10th one, which is also, I guess, somewhat related to diabetes tangentially, because it's also part of the endocrine system, is thyroid problems. That one is another serious one, but most people are like, I feel like I'm not losing weight fast enough. I probably have hypothyroidism. Or, I'm very aggressive all the time. I feel angry, or I'm aggressive or whatever, and I must have hyperthyroidism, or I'm losing a lot of weight and I have hyperthyroid. Well, it's possible you may have one or the other. That is definitely something you want to get checked out, and it's very easy to determine. They just do a blood test and they find out if your levels are low, your thyroid levels are low. But it could just mean that you're an asshole.
Ding, 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 ding. This is stupid.
Some people are just assholes. I'm behind a guy in traffic and he's driving so slow. He must be he must have hypothyroidism.
No.
Or that guy going 100 miles an hour must have hyperthyroidism. Hyper and hypo.
No,
so
if he's driving too slow, we're in California, he probably smoked weed.
That is definitely true. The people that'll tell you that it doesn't matter, I would never try it. People that smoke weed, and again, I am for legalizing it, but
you shouldn't be driving
smoke it,
high.
Smoke it at home or consume your marijuana at home. But while you're driving and smoking, probably not a good idea. Some people do it perfectly fine, and those are like the professional stoners. But I don't condone that.
We don't condone that at all.
We do not condone that at all.
And now it's time for the TV Movie Entertainment Review. Brought to you by Texaco and Proposition 215.
On today's show, we review Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. Rated R.
Actually, it's rated PG-13.
Yeah.
So Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. That was a movie that we saw the trailer for many, many, many months ago, and it came out and it just kind of fell off the radar. It wasn't. It was a major release.
I think there were a few.
lot of good movies that came out at that time.
Yeah, so we just didn't get to it.
But anyway, the movie came out, and Shannon kept pestering me, and it's been
zombies.
It's got zombies, and it's got Pride and Prejudice. I am not one. I think I've seen maybe parts of Pride and Prejudice. I mean, I know it's a classic book by Jane Austen, et cetera, et cetera. But if it's not sci-fi and fantasy, I could only be talked into watching this because of the zombies. And I will let Shannon give her opinion of the movie first, and then I will give my opinion. And if you guys remember from the movie episode, she likes all dancing movies. She likes girly movies. For example, there's a new movie coming out, Bridget Jones' Baby. What did you think of the Bridget Jones Diary movies?
I couldn't sit through them. I didn't see any of them.
Will you marry me again? I love
Not
you so
my
much.
cup of tea. No.
I love you so much. Yeah, no, I couldn't do it either.
Yeah.
But those are not designed for me. I don't know what the audience is, probably like an offshoot of the Sex and the City audience or something. I don't know who they are, but
pretty sure it's all women.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
I don't think I typically like true like girly movies. Like I haven't seen Magic Mike. I did not want to see Shades of Grey. I think I read one chapter. That's all I could get through. It was so poorly written. So I'm a little atypical, I think. I think I have kind of more masculine taste as far as liking sci-fi and action flicks. And
you
that
like
kind of
sci-fi,
thing.
action, fantasy, things like that,
Yeah.
which is cool. But you also have your
I have a
share
couple of girly
your
ones that I
share
like.
of girly movies that you like.
Yeah.
But this one to me, well, you're going to give your opinion first, and I'm going to give my opinion. So,
Okay.
so what did you think? So, Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
Okay, so I have to talk a little bit about the original Pride and Prejudice,
Which I've never seen.
I am a huge fan of it. I love it. It actually, it's one of those that it's on TV. I will sit through it again. I really like it. So the things I like about it is I like that kind of old-fashioned looking at how things in society were completely different. You know, nowadays movies, everything is in your face. It's not subtle at all. You know, a woman will lift up her shirt, show your tits. It's very
right.
overt. And in older movies, you know, that wasn't allowed.
yeah.
It was a totally different time. So I find it really interesting that they have to incorporate into the acting all these nuances on how the personalities are feeling and thinking and that kind of thing. And the Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley was wonderful, and it's a wonderful love story, and I really liked it. So Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, I thought would be a zombie movie just set in that time period, but they actually literally took fully the complete story, Pride and Prejudice, and then incidentally, there's zombies in there. So that was a little odd for me, but they still portrayed the characters really, really well. The acting was good. They did the story well, and then they kind of wormed some zombies in there. And it sounds ridiculous, but it really wasn't. They pulled it off well, and I thought it was a really interesting way to do a movie with two completely different subjects, and they melded it in pretty well. And it was a cool action flick, and you still were watching Pride and Prejudice with this other thing going on.
I agree with you. I know of Pride and Prejudice. It's been done like 100 times. I always thought of it as what's the one with Anthony Hopkins? Not The English Patient. The one where he's like, it's kind of like that show that you like, the English show. With,
Downton Abbey.
It's kind of like Downton Abbey. What was it's with? I know it's with Anthony Hopkins, and it's like it's very stilted, and everyone is very stuffy, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they can never say their true feelings
Yeah.
because everything is like under the guise of like, oh, we have all these rules, and
Yeah.
and Pride and Prejudice, as the name implies, is because there's different classes, etc. So I had never seen Pride and Prejudice. I knew it like, tangentially. I knew of it, and I knew parts of it or whatever. I knew the name Mr. Darcy, etc. But I was surprised. It was done very well in terms of like the action was great. I could have done a little bit less, I guess, Pride and Prejudice, because I was like, well, this is going to be kind of like more along the veins of like full-on zombie movie with kind of crazy attack, but then it's these people dressed in like Victorian outfits or whatever fighting zombies. And it has a little bit of that. And then, spoiler alert, the movie came out months ago, and it's even been out on DVD for, at this point, 4 months. So we were really catching on to it pretty late, but we literally saw it like 2 days ago. So spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear this part, spoiler alert, there is some zombie killing, there is some zombie fighting, and the spoiler alert part of it is they do imply that all of them are like highly trained, like we studied martial arts in China, and the other one I studied in Japan.
Yeah.
And it was this whole class thing where it's like, oh, well, if you studied, you know, kung fu versus karate, or you studied, you know, sword fighting versus, you know, the different techniques, they were kind of, you know, hoity-toity, you know, pointing fingers at who had the better style, or who was raised better, or who had the better education, et cetera, et cetera. The zombie effects are done really well. You don't really get that much of it. There's probably less of it than even Fear the Walking Dead. The parts when you do get it, it's really well done. It has a couple. Probably the only people that are the real big names were the guys from Game of Thrones. You know, you've got you've got Lena, you've got Lena Headey in there.
Actually, the one who played Lizzie Bennett is, for those who love Downton Abbey, she plays Cousin Rose in Downton Abbey. I don't know the actress's name, but
so she's from that. She's from that world. Okay, that makes perfect sense then.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really well done. The effects, the production value. Obviously, it's not a low budget movie. They could totally convince you that they're in 19th century England, etc. I believe they're all English actors, which doesn't surprise me.
For sure, Mr. Darcy isn't nearly as handsome as in the Keira Knightley one. I kept staring at his weird teeth. You know, British actors. You know how that is.
Oh, come on. No, it's not. It was probably just him, because I honestly didn't notice, and I know what you mean, like when they have bad teeth, but it's not. That is such a stereotype. How dare you?
He was odd looking.
How dare you?
He was odd looking.
He was a little odd looking, but I don't remember him.
How dare I?
He didn't have bad teeth.
They were just weird.
Weird shaped or something? Yeah. I didn't notice bad teeth on the guy, but anyway.
They weren't bad. They were shaped weird.
I don't know. I wasn't looking at his mouth that much. I'm going to have to keep an eye on you.
Well, I wanted a handsome Mr. Darcy.
Get out of here with the shit. Anyway, for what? It's supposed to be killing zombies. I wasn't looking at the girls going, "Hey, I wonder when they're going to..."
He said, she said.
I wonder when they're going to strip off the tops and fight those zombies topless.
I wasn't saying that. I just wanted him to have nice teeth and a nice voice. You know, jeez. Is it too much to ask?
You're watching Pride and Prejudice and zombies, and you're expecting them to have beautiful teeth. It's not the point of the show. It's not the point of the movie.
Audience alert for everyone. I'm really weird about male actors and their voices. Angel's always on me. Oh, do you find him attractive? Whatever. Or Jake Gyllenhaal is my go-to. Very handsome guy.
Bubble Boy.
I can't. He has a high-pitched voice. I loved Bubble Boy. It was hysterical, but he is forever Bubble Boy. I cannot. He's not sexy. Can't be. Bubble Boy cannot be sexy.
An astronaut? No way, Mom. I'm some kind of Bubble Boy. How do you take a dump in that thing?
So any guy with a high voice, I just can't possibly. They can be beautiful. Can't find him attractive. Nope.
Ask me if I'm some kind of astronaut.
Are you some kind of astronaut?
I know I'm some kind of Bubble Boy.
$500.
Bubble Boy, 2 thumbs up. It is probably like a 5 or 6 or whatever it is on Rotten Tomatoes. It's one of those movies where it's so bad it's good. It's so bad it's a classic.
It's amazing.
It's so bad it's amazing. Bubble Boy. We went off on a tangent here, but back to Pride and Prejudice and zombies. All the actresses. Another funny thing, which I've never seen the original, and you can tell me if it's in the original. They keep saying, like, I want to be with this one girl. Like, the one girl in the group, Jane or whatever it was apparently the last rose on the desert. And all the other sisters are very, very beautiful, pretty, in shape, you know, as far as you can tell from those outfits, because everything was very loose fitting. But still, none of them were ugly. And it's like, no, you only want the one girl. We want the one girl. I didn't get that whole attraction to. So
in the
Jane
original story, that particular sister was very beautiful, and the other sisters weren't ugly, but they weren't as pretty as her. And the main character, Lizzie, was supposed to be a little bit plain. She had brown hair. Not that she wasn't pretty, but she wasn't like that. Sister was beautiful, and in the one with Keira Knightley, they did a little better job with that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, in this one, all the sisters were all beautiful.
Yeah,
there was no difference.
Why are they knocking? Why are they all like, no, it has to be this one girl? And I kept thinking, like,
they didn't do a good job with that. In the one with Keira Knightley, they did a good job with that.
Okay, so on a scale of awesome to totally shit,
I would call it in the middle.
Rentable.
I would say, yeah, it's right in the middle. It's, if you
at this point you've got no choice. You've got to watch it on demand, or you have to rent it. But
I think if you hated Pride and Prejudice, then you probably shouldn't see this movie. But if you kind of liked Pride and Prejudice and you're a zombie fan, I think you're going to enjoy it. But
the script is well done. It doesn't feel fake. It doesn't feel like a B movie or a cheesy movie at all. It's not like, oh, by the way, we're Pride and Prejudice and we have zombies.
Yeah.
So we're going to be on horseback, and then it's
to me it was a really interesting concept to be able to combine the two. And I didn't find it ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, I think they're kind of alluding to like a time when, maybe the Black Plague or anything like that. Like, well, how do we deal with a time when there's a lot of death and things like that? So they kind of said, well, why don't we just bring in the zombie lore into it? So I would say on a scale of like totally shit to amazingly awesome, I would say it's probably in the middle as well. I'd say it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's my favorite zombie movie by any stretch, but I definitely would say it's watchable. But as she said, if you're definitely not into stilted dialogue, if you don't want that weird prim and proper, Pride and Prejudice dialogue, then stay away from it, because there's a lot of it. But the action is pretty good, but it's kind of peppered in there. You're going to get Pride and Prejudice and zombies, as the name implies. It's not Pride and Prejudice fighting zombies. It's Pride, Prejudice, and by the way, there's zombies.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's time for the advice section. Sit back, relax, and listen to us, because we know it all.
Okay.
Yahoo Answers time.
How can I make someone believe that my PS4 is broken?
Okay. Put an Xbox disc in it. It won't run. It just won't run. Especially for like a parent, they won't know the difference. So if you have both systems, I don't understand why you would want to do this. I guess it's so you can get a new one, maybe.
Oh, I don't know.
But yeah, if you put in the wrong disc, you just go like, oh, look, my PS4 is not playing Halo. I don't know what the hell's going on. This is for the gamers out there. My PS4, it won't play Halo. Halo only plays on the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One. It'll never play on the PS4. It would be copyright, trademark, and also marketing infringement. This podcast is not brought to you by Xbox, Sony, or PlayStation. So yeah, if you want to appear broken, just put something in it. It won't look like it works. Or if you really want it to appear broken, hit it with a sledgehammer. It'll definitely appear broken, and it'll be fucking broken. This one is for you that is a famous equestrian person. Yeah. Would you rather ride a pony or a unicorn?
I mean, duh.
A pony?
No. Of course a unicorn.
Because of the rainbows?
Yes. In my world, all unicorns shit Skittles.
They shit Skittles?
Absolutely.
That's delicious.
That's right.
But why? So, and why would they say a pony? I even thought the question was weird. A pony or a unicorn? A pony is a small horse. Or are they saying a small, like a pony unicorn? Like a small unicorn?
No, I think they're asking if it's a pony. If you had a choice.
Can you imagine a unicorn pony?
Oh my God, that's adorable.
That is freaking adorable. Even me, I'm not really into horses, but I think that would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
I don't know.
Maybe because ponies are cute. Ponies are really cute. I love a good pony.
Yeah, but you would want to ride a horse or a unicorn, not a pony, because a pony's small.
Yeah.
You would crush it.
Pretty much.
Like I'm thinking like Shetland pony, like one of those little tiny ponies.
Oh my God.
That little tiny one
when I was little.
The one that goes
so
into the Amazon commercial one that it goes into that little door like a dog.
Oh, that's a mini. That actually is a mini horse, but it actually looks like it has some dwarfism.
Yeah, it's got some dwarfism.
It's adorable though. Okay. So, let's see. Do some humans annoy you?
Do some humans annoy you? No, all humans annoy me. That is such a weird... Who the fuck is writing this? An alien? Do some humans annoy you? And I don't know why the alien sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm sorry. I sometimes just go into these voices on accident. For those of you that enjoy them, congrats. For those of you that don't, I'm sorry. I sometimes just go into a voice. The voice is in my head. Do some humans annoy you? Do some humans annoy you? Why? What? Why humans versus like what? Do some people annoy? Do some humans versus other forms of life? Like what? Like dogs, cats? What are you talking about? Do some humans annoy me? Whoever wrote this question annoys me. So I'll give you one.
Okay.
What will you do if you saw a tiger sleeping in your bed?
Well, I would curl up and try and make that tiger purr.
Oh my God. I've got to make sure, number one,
Yeah.
that no tiger somehow break into our house and fall asleep in our bed, which means the tiger knew where to go.
Yeah.
The way that our apartment is configured, it's a long apartment. So for that tiger to get all the way to our bedroom, climb into the bed, and fall asleep there, he's got to be looking for that bed.
He must be a friendly tiger, waiting
There's
for
no
someone
such
to
thing as a
scratch
friendly
his
tiger.
ears and make
What will
him
you
purr.
do if you see a tiger and you're going to try and make it purr?
Of course.
I would try and change your meds. If you're seeing tigers in San Jose, California, we've got a problem.
Well, there might be. All right. In what age you start shaving pubic hair?
In what age you start shaving pubic hair?
The age when you grow pubic hair.
The age when you grow pubic hair. So I would say obviously, like everyone out there, you don't start shaving pubic hair till you're like 26, 27 when you start growing your pubic hair.
26, 27. Okay.
Like everyone, you know what I mean? Like everyone
Yeah.
grows their pubic, like 26, right? Am I saying that wrong?
Yeah.
You grow your pubic hair.
Yeah.
Everyone out there,
I think the better answer is you shave it when it's grown long enough to be disgusting.
Yeah, but I mean, at that
If
point,
it's getting caught in things, it's time to shave it.
if it's getting caught in things, you should not be using your genitals for anything other than peeing and having sex.
Well, I mean,
what are you doing? You're
like zippers.
You're picking up stuff off the ground with it.
No, like it gets stuck in your zipper, or it's like getting caught in your undies.
You better run a vacuum through that shit. Is it wrong for a Christian to get a breast reduction?
Jesus says, "No woman shall reduce her breasts ever." No, no.
Ezekiel 25:17.
Ezekiel. Oh my God.
Don't laugh. It's breast Ezekiel 25:17.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're Christian, it is not wrong to get a breast reduction. If your breasts are so big they're causing you back pain or medical issues, Jesus wants you to feel better. Take care of it. Nobody wants tits on the floor.
Well, time for another bad impression.
Ezekiel 25:17. The well-endowed woman shall not reduce the size of a tittygram, because it'll make Jesus really mad. You keep those titties, or I am going to come down on you and have swift vengeance. And now get these motherfucking snakes off this goddamn plane.
And don't kiss them.
And don't kiss the goddamn snakes. And leave those goddamn titties alone. 25:17 for Ezekiel.
And that was Yahoo Answers, and I think that is the end of our show. But I do want to give a shout out to Florida Man, who is on Facebook, who I found on happenstance since we've been doing so many Florida headlines. Florida Man, if you haven't seen, you probably have seen a lot of his memes. He's got a really popular page on Facebook, Facebook.com/Florida Man. Just type in Florida Man and you'll see all kinds of crazy memes and images and videos and things of crazy happenings in Florida. He was so kind as to share our podcast on his page, so I'm giving him a shout out. And as always, if you guys want to reach us, please reach us, placebopod@gmail.com, or tweet us at placebopod. We're on Instagram at the Placebo Effect Podcast. And our main page where you can download these is basically placebopod.libsyn.com, as well as if you're an iPhone user, Android user, we're on everything. We're on Stitcher, we're on Google, we're on iTunes, we're pretty much on everything. So however you're listening to us, please subscribe so you can get our episodes as soon as they come out. You don't miss any of this important information that we're putting out. And as always, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Have a great week, everybody.
Everyone, have a week.